Okay, here's a quick video that I thought about doing when I took a look at these two scenes. These are my last three videos, and they're a version of the watermill and pink blossoms theme. First one is done on glossy cardstock. I've altered the composition of this one just because I wanted the more pink, kind of an explosion of pink blooms in this scene, but I didn't achieve that, so I really went crazy with this one right here with the blossoms and right up to the top of the card and in the foreground as well. And then I did the same thing in a photo stamping application here, lastly, and this is a smaller version just because I don't have a half-page format. That I'd have to get like maybe a 5x7 print, and I only had the 4x6s here. Okay, but going back to what I was talking about, when I did these first two here, I was doing a little bit of a, I don't know, comparison contrast between glossy cardstock and more of a satin finish cardstock. This one in particular is called Dull, but it's similar to a satin finish on that. It is still cardstock though, so we're talking about clay coatings on both of these. Just one happens to have, the glossy finish on it, okay? But the interesting thing to me though, now neither one of these have been sprayed, okay? Now if I spray these, it's going to look different. The saturations are going to be a little bit more pronounced, excuse me, and the values in terms of the dark impressions and areas are going to be a little bit darker. Okay, so the contrast and saturation range will expand, at least in terms of the higher saturations. We might lose some of the duller areas where I've applied some of the white pigment ink to give it kind of that frosty look, because like chalks or pastels or something like that, if you've ever spray fixed any of those, you can kind of lose some of the lighter areas. And I usually sacrifice that for the benefit of the stronger saturations in the more intense areas of the scene and the darker areas of the scene as well. So anyways, that being said, these don't look too bad in terms of the saturation unsprayed, but I was kind of surprised. I mean, you can be the judge of it. The darker areas, okay? Like you can see on the mill here where I didn't apply any of the white pigment ink over the top. Now, I've colored these slightly different, Whenever I'm doing these scenes, none of them ever come out the same. I could do this exact same scene again using the exact same media, and I think it would come out different just because, there's so many different layers of ink that are applied. Some impressions might have been darker than others, I don't know, just from, I don't know, my impression, I don't know, strength or whatever on one to the other. But the satin finish, I mean, it really holds up in terms of the intensity and value range. Look at that dark black in there. And this is a dark black right here with the VersaFine. So that's, not really a good comparison between this black and this one right here. No, I think those were, okay, wait a minute. Those two were both VersaFine. Okay, no, okay, I'm kind of forgetting what I've done here in some of these. These blacks right here were VersaFine as well as the Oak Branch ones. It's only in my third piece where there was no VersaFine used. Okay, so anyways, the amount of blackness on each one of these, I think, is pretty equal. Okay, here's a good example right down here in the reeds. That is just as dark as this glossy, okay? And again, it's a little bit surprising to me because I tend to think that glossy tends to hold the saturations of intensity and the layering of dye-based inks a little bit stronger just because it's sealed off with one extra coat of glossy finish on that. But I don't know, it comes to show you just, I don't know how little I really know, when doing a kind of a side-by-side comparison like this. I don't know. Okay, now let's go from these to, now this one, these two right here are similar in composition. I've I've dropped out a lot of the different imagery from this one to this one. I've used the smaller watermill on this one. Okay, but talking about a different type of surface. Now, this is a glossy photo print of a cloud that I've stamped this on. And here it is against, the glossy cardstock here. These two, now remember, I'm stamping this over the top of clouds and, darker areas of the sky and whatnot, so it's going to look a little bit different. This one's much lighter, of course. But I'm talking about just the amount of color saturations from one scene to the next. And again, I might have used more, some darker tones in some of these areas. Now this would be a good comparison right here. These trees down here against these trees right here, because these trees right down here, I colored it over, or I applied that color over a much lighter area of the, the photograph that was used. But, in terms of a comparison contrast type of thing, I don't know. I'm just surprised at how similar, as opposed to different, the different saturations look. Oh, now this one was, that one was colored a lot with the alcohol pens, as was this one. But you can see just, I don't know, in comparing the waterfall impression intensity and value, the level of light and dark between these two, it's not that different. I mean, if these have a different finish to them. This one's glossy and whatnot, but when you just put it down like that, and you can't really see the gloss. I mean, I could put, let's say we sandwiched these two scenes together or something like that. You wouldn't want that, another watermill in there unless that one's like in the distance or something like that. But just merging these two up like this, I mean, it would almost blend right in. And I mean, on this one here with the glossy and with the glossy cardstock, in terms of just the blending of media and surfaces together, I don't know, to me it's not that different. It would merge in pretty well. Now, I don't know, this comes as a surprise to me. I don't know, I tend to see these. Like this one right here, the glossy cardstock and the glossy photo paper, they're almost kind of more unrelated than they are related, just in terms of the way glossy photo paper accepts media, inks and alcohol inks and whatnot, than the photo glossy cardstock. This one has, I don't know, just the characteristics are very different. The media on this one right here, the emulsion coating on photo paper dries really fast. It grabs the ink. That's why I don't like to do too much dye-based ink layering on this one. It just dries too fast. Where on this one, because of that coating, it sits on the surface a little bit longer. But in the end result, in terms of a finish from one surface to the next, I don't know. They're a lot more similar, I think, than they are different. And I don't know, this comes as a little bit of a surprise to me, even though it should be, like stamping 101 types of information and knowledge. It just comes to show me how real little I really know about, I don't know, stuff that I've been using for a very long time. And I don't know, until I did these three real similar compositions, kind of back to back, I didn't really have anything to compare and contrast it against. Usually I don't like to do the same composition, multiple times, but I think it's a good exercise to do, and I don't know, it kind of revealed some things to me, especially in terms of how little I really know about the surfaces and the kind of the characteristics of them in terms of how they look in the finished results. Okay, I know how they feel in terms of the application of media and whatnot, but I don't know, in the end result, I don't know, pretty interesting to me. I still need to spray these, and they'll probably look a little bit different, but I have a feeling that when I spray them, I'm going to spray these two in glossy And this one I'm going to do in matte just to keep that, you know, the characteristic of the satiny type of finish kind of intact this time around. But anyways, just a quick video there. So I don't know, maybe it influences you or whatnot, or you know, it's something to think about when you're using these different types of surfaces and whatnot. I don't know. It's something that I'm definitely going to keep in mind. Okay, anyways, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, drop me a note in the comment section.